Welcome to the Lions Den. Today I have Pennsylvania State Representative Carol Hill Evans. You are now in the Lions Den. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome back to us. We had you back here. We had you on here a season or so ago and gave a great interview then. And I just had to bring you back because my actual last episode, your name was brought up. And I want to share with you some of the things that was said about you.
Okay.
I wrote it down to make sure I get this right. This is what was said about Carol Hill Evans. She's phenomenal. She's athenic. She says what's on her mind. She's the reason behind the urban schools in PA receiving their reparations. She makes sure that we know what's going on.
Thank you. I'll take that. It's all good.
This was out of the mouth of the York chapter NAACP president, Sherry Washington.
Oh, very good. Bless her heart. Good people.
And she mentioned, so that's where I want to start about the reason behind the urban schools in PA receiving their reparations. She said it was something like a 10 or 20-year lawsuit and that you had gotten involved to make sure that the money went to where it needed to go. Can you share that story with us?
Yes, it was a store. It was a lawsuit. I think it's the William Penn School District, not York City. Our high school is William Penn, but there's a school district named William Penn, and they filed a lawsuit along with some other folks against the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania for the way that Pennsylvania was funding our schools. And it turns out that the courts, the Supreme Court, I think it was this Superior or Supreme Court came back and said that yes, in fact, that was true, that the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania was not funding our schools, particularly our urban schools, the way they were supposed to have. So a lot of times you'll hear politicians say it shouldn't matter what school district, what zip code you live in order to receive a good education. And it turns out that that's exactly what was happening. Our students were getting educated based on their district, their zip code. And so the lawsuit went through, and it was found that the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania had to then try to make up for it. I mean, it was billions of dollars. And so that's not anything that could happen in one shot. And so last year, it was last year, year before, I think it was last year that during our budget session, there was a lot of money that was given to those school districts that had been historically underfunded. York City was one of those. And so I think if they had given us the amount of money that they needed to in order to bring us whole with everyone else, it would have been between 40 and 50 million dollars. And so I was able to get an additional $14 million by standing up for my school district. I have West York, Central, York Suburban, and York City. Those are the school districts that I represent. And so each one of those school districts were able to get money. However, York City, because it was urban and the most underfunded, received the most money at the time. So that's how we got the money. That's how I got the money, standing up and saying, hey, don't forget York. York is one of those. Let's make sure I'm here to make sure that my districts get the money that they're entitled to. And so I was able to get an additional $14 million for York City School District.
With the Board of Education and everything that the current president is doing with Linda McMahon and people totally not qualified to be in the position that they're in, and how they're pretty much trying to privatize education, how will this affect the public schools in your area?
If they privatize them, you're talking about vouchers. I think it's
Yeah,
like
I'm
a
talking
voucher
about
system.
everything that they're trying to do. To me, it seems like they're just trying to get rid of public schools in its
Well, they
entirety.
are. And it's not new. This is not new. That's why it's important for people to know who they're voting for and what those people that they're actually voting for, what they represent, what they stand for. We have to make ourselves aware. It's not enough just to say I'm voting for Carol Hill Evans because I like her, because I know her, because she was born and raised in the city. What do I stand for? And for me, it's education. And so you need to make sure that whoever you're voting for is number one, I'm about public schools. I'm a public school graduate. Go Bearcats. And I, hey, I'm here, right? So it is a good education. But when you continually underfund public schools by having not just charters, but particularly cyber charters, that money gets drained out of our school districts. And so that means programs cutting, taxes raised, property taxes, school taxes raised. And it's just not a good solution. It's not the way it ought to be. So what would it do? It would devastate us, all the public schools. I was not surprised, but really disappointed in the fact that the US Supreme Court has given the current president permission to continue to dismantle the Department of Education. So basically, what he's saying is he wants a nation of dummies. To which I say, if that really is the case, why do you have your son in college? Pull him out of college because he's a resident, right? But oh no,
Mhm.
he gets a chance to go to college, but that's only for some people, right? It's not going to be for everybody, which is very disappointing. And I would still, I'm going to keep going back to you have to know who you're voting for and you have to get out and vote. Your vote does count. It does count. Enough of us didn't get out there to not vote for
Right.
him, so he got in, right? And now
Right.
here we are. And I have people calling my office all the time saying, oh, well, I didn't think it was going to happen to me. To which I say, why not? Because he told you that's what he was going to do. And that's
Right.
exactly what he's doing. He's doing everything that he said he was going to do. And it's going to affect, who do you think is going to affect the most? Ones that look
Right.
like us, right?
Mhm.
Black
Right.
and brown folks, urban districts, um, and it's happening. It's happening. And so what do I think is going to happen if that continues? It's going to devastate us.
What can we do now at this point, at least until we get to the midterms? Because so many people, including myself, are so lost. I mean, I didn't vote for him. I voted for Harris. I'm gonna just be honest.
Yeah,
I vote on in every election. I don't just vote for president. I vote for mayor. I vote for council. I vote
you
for
have to.
judges. I vote for every level. What can people do now until we get to the midterms? Or is it, I don't want to sound like we're in despair, but is it too
We
late
are in
until the
despair.
midterms?
We are in despair. What can we do? Honestly, I don't know what the answer is to that, Keith, but I can tell you we can't go to sleep. We can't just lay down and feel sorry for ourselves. We still have to make sure that we get our children to school. We still have to make sure that when there are jobs available, that we take those jobs and we work those jobs. We still have to make sure that, we're paying our whatever obligations we have.
Mhm.
We have to make sure that our neighbors are okay. We have to make sure that people who are supposed to be here are actually here, that they're not being deported just because they're brown. All right. And so we can't afford to go to sleep. We have to keep as much as I do not like to listen to news because of all of the disastrous things that are happening, we still have to be aware of what's happening. When it's time for us to get out and vote, we have to get out and vote. Here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, you get to vote every 6 months. There's a vote, there's an election every 6 months. And a lot of people don't even know that. They think they get to vote once every 4 years, and that's for president. No, there are judges that we have to vote for. Judges are extremely important at every level.
Right.
Right now, there's Supreme, Superior, and Commonwealth judges that are being elected that we have to go out and vote for in November.
Mhm.
MDJs, I don't know if there are any around here that are up for election, but when they are, that's important too. They're judges. They're affecting our everyday lives. We have coming up in November, we have to vote for mayor. We have to vote for
Right.
city council. We have to vote for
Right.
school board members that are going to be not not supporting the whole voucher thing. We have to make sure that the people that we vote in are aware of what damage vouchers can do and how it's going to affect our students and how it's going to affect our school district and how it's going to affect our community. And so we just have to make ourselves aware. I do a weekly email every week. I don't know if you're signed on, but if you're not, please go onto my website and sign on. And
Give us the website address.
I'm sorry.
Give us the website address.
It's two of them. You can do I'll give you the main one. It's REP Hill dash Evans at pahouse.net.
Okay. I will
Okay.
make sure to sign up today.
Please do. And once you read it, it's like a kind of an e-blast. And you go to the bottom and you can sign on and say that you want to get it every week. So every week we put it out, you'll get it. And in there, we let you know what's happening. I tell you where I've been in the community. I tell you what's
Mhm.
going on in Harrisburg on when we're in session. I
Mhm.
tell you if there are grants that are available, that you might be eligible for that, when there are meetings, when there are webinars, events that are happening throughout the district. It's filled with a lot of really good information. And so I always invite everybody to please take a look at that. When
Mhm.
the elections are coming up, we let you know what the deadlines are for registration, for if you're doing mail-in, to get those mailed in, the days of on the day of the election, the hours and the locations within this district, which is the 95th legislative district. And so make sure you just have to keep yourself in the loop. You have to know what's going on and
Yes,
read
ma'am.
it for yourself. I have no reason to lie to anybody. I represent everyone. And so I don't do partisan, I do community. And so it's
Right.
letting everyone in the community know what is available. And so take a
You
look at
stay
it.
busy in the community from everybody that I've talked to. And, I hear accolades whenever your name is mentioned.
Oh, that's so
W-
sweet. Thank you.
So many
Thank
things
you.
come across your table as a PA state representative. What, if you could share with us, what is at the top of the list right now that you're focused on?
Passing the budget. We have not passed a budget yet. That means our schools are going to be opening soon. They're not going to have the funding that they need. The House of Representatives we sent our budget to the Senate. The Senate went home. The Senate is still home. The Senate
Right.
has not passed that budget. And without having that spending budget, we can't spend any money. That means that our school districts, who are already strapped and underfunded, now have to go to banks or loan companies and borrow money that they need just so that they can operate. That means they have to pay those high interest rates. It doesn't mean they're not getting their money, but they're not going to get it now. And they have expenses. They have to get these doors open so our kids can get their education. So that means that somebody's going to have to pay for it. Who you think that's going to be? Taxpayers.
Right.
That's just not right. The Senate needs to get back to work. And I'm going to call out our two senators, um, uh, Dawn Kiefer, who has the city of York, but within my district, it's Dawn Kiefer because she has the city, but it's also what's her name? Kristen Phillips Hill. She has the rest of the district. And they need to put pressure on their leaders to get back to work, to get this daggone budget passed so that our students can go to school, that the doors can be open, that the taxpayers don't have to pay more money. It's just ridiculous. We sent it over to them. They did nothing. They went home.
Was that a strategic
They're
move on
still
their
home.
part because they don't want these public schools to get their funding and they just wanted to disappear and to appease our current president?
You know what? I don't know what their reasoning is. As far as I'm concerned, there's no good reason. Do your
Hmm.
job. We
Right.
all get paid very well in our positions. Do your job. We were elected by our constituents to send us to Harrisburg, not to go on vacation because without passing a budget, but to get up there and pass a budget to make sure that we're advocating for the things that are important for our communities. You can't do that when you're sitting at home knowing that there's a budget that hasn't been passed. Can't do it.
Hmm.
You've got to
Hmm.
get your butts back to Harrisburg. So, and the Republicans are in the majority in the Senate. So Senate Republicans, go back to work and get your job done. Pass this frickin' budget. There's no reason why that budget has not been passed. We gave
Hmm.
it to them. Were we over time? Yeah, we were beyond the June 30th deadline, but we got it to them. They did nothing with it. So now here we are. So now our nonprofits, our school districts, they're going to be struggling and suffering because we don't have a spend budget. So we can't spend any money. It's there, but we can't spend it without having that budget passed. And so they need to get back to Harrisburg and they need to do their jobs. And I'm calling them out. Yes, I'm calling them out. Do I say what's on my mind? A lot of times I probably shouldn't, but I do because it's the truth. And the fact of the matter is they need to get back there and finish the job.
I think the truth is refreshing at this point, considering what we're dealing with and hearing every day. Or also, it's kind of refreshing to get a different perspective. Um, so, as far as the Pennsylvania and the area that you serve, as far as education, one of the things that Ms. Washington had mentioned was that uh, litigation was also, well, let me backtrack a little bit. She mentioned at how the youth had inspired her and was getting behind a lot, leading the way to the changes that are trying to be made in the state and in this area of Pennsylvania. What do you see as far as the youth upcoming in the politics?
Uh, I think they're still a little disgruntled. I think they're a little disillusioned. They hear a lot of things um, that they have questions about. So I have 28 physical schools within my whole district, not just the city of York, but the whole district. And so I try to get into those schools, each one of those schools, at least once. Sometimes I'll go 2 or 3 times to some of the schools, depending on if I get invited to events. But I try to get in there so I can answer their questions. And I have to tell you, our students are hungry for um, honesty. They
Mm,
want to be told the truth. It's not always what they expect, but anytime I'm there, that's what they're going to get. They're going to get the truth because they're going to find out a lie. And if you tell the truth, you don't have to tell a lie, right?
right.
So, so just tell the truth. And some of it's a little, I think, over their heads, but they don't have any problems asking questions. And I
Hmm.
always tell them, hold my feet to the fire. If you think I'm doing something that is harming you or that is not benefiting you, I need to know about it. I
Hmm.
remind them that as adults, we don't always get it right. And most
Right.
of the time, when it comes to them, we get it wrong because they're at a different place than what we are. We're thinking, like, well, when I was that age, but we're not that age anymore. And life
Right.
isn't there anymore. It's at a different place. So we have to meet our students where they are. And I have four. I think so far this year, I've had 6 interns in my office, and I have to tell you, Keith, they are fired up. They really are. They are so informed, so well informed, so interesting. They have their own opinions, um,
Hmm.
and they're not afraid to share them with me. And I encourage them, talk to me, because if you don't tell me, I'm going to see what I think you need through my filters. And I can't do that because it's not
Hmm.
always going to satisfy you. So I need to hear what you're saying so that I can go ahead and figure out what it is we can do, what resources are available, and how we can help. And so I think our students, when given, the right setting, um,
Hmm.
they're sharp. They are. They're sharp. I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged.
Hmm.
Just the level of conversation, not just of the interns, but when I go into the schools, sometimes the questions, once you get the first 2 people to ask questions, the questions come in all over the place. Yeah, everything from how old are you? Do you have a boyfriend? Where did you go to school? Yeah, who did you vote for? Those kinds of things. But they're really in tune with, a lot of what's going on. I credit their teachers, their parents as well, but in the school setting, I credit their teachers because when I go into the schools, these students are prepared. They know what
Mhm.
questions they want to ask. They have them written down on a piece of paper, not in all cases, but a lot of times they'll have them written down ahead of time so they know what questions they want to ask. And I'm perfectly willing to answer, any questions that they have for me. But they are, I will always ask, does anybody want to be a politician? And no hands go up. Nobody, nobody wants to do it. So, but I let them know.
It's
It's not,
funny you say that because I look at the two brothers in Tennessee, Justin Jones and Justin Pearson and Jasmine Crockett and I get so inspired. And I think that they're really in touch with what's going on, not only in their state, but people their age. I think they represent their age bracket really good. And the younger generation, I have a lot of people that come to me and say that they wish the government was more representative of country.
yeah.
I believe that there should be, um, we have trans in the government, we have gays in the government, we should have Latinos, we should have blacks, we should have whites, we should have everybody, which is representative of the country, Mexicans, whoever. But I think it also, I think if you serve 10 terms, I think it's time for you to kind of let some youth step in and be more representative of that state, represent that state or whatever. I think at a certain time, you should let it go and let somebody younger step in. I believe in term limits, especially somebody who's in Congress and has been there, over 10 terms. I think it's a little bit too much. What is your opinion on that?
My opinion initially would mirror yours. You should only serve so many times and then you should get out. Being in this position now, I understand, and I was corrected when I said that, but I was told, and now I believe term limits already exist. It's called voting. Get your butts out there and vote. If I'm
Right.
not doing it right, if I'm not satisfying you, and there's somebody who's coming along who can satisfy you have to do what you have to do, right?
You're absolutely
But
right.
just to say term limits and after 4 or after 8 or after 10 years, you should get out, that means you're starting all over again, unless there's already somebody in the pipeline who is primed and ready to go. Not somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, not somebody who doesn't even know how many school districts there are in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Not somebody who has no clue because that hurts the community. It doesn't help. So just saying, just to have a new face, just for the sake of having a new face, sorry, I'm not there. It needs to
Mhm.
be somebody who knows the system, who has at least studied the system, who has some background, right? And some
Right.
involvement, who knows about how to be part of a team. Not somebody
Mhm.
who's trying to be a hot dog, somebody who can advocate, who knows how to advocate. Because if you're just going to Harrisburg or DC just to say you're there, what are you
Mhm.
bringing back to the community?
Right.
Nothing, because you don't know what you're doing. So
Mhm.
term limits do exist, right? It's called
Right.
voting. And
Right.
having somebody in a position for year after year after year, and they're doing little or nothing except a lot of lip service is bull crap. That's not
Right.
what people expect when you are an elected official. And so I always say, hold my feet to the fire. If you don't like what I'm doing, you have options, vote me out. But so far as at least as far as I know, I'm doing my job. And that's what
That's
people want.
that's
They want somebody to do their job.
I totally agree, and I've never looked at it from that perspective, and so you have me thinking differently now on that. Especially for somebody that is doing their job and being effective in their position. Which
Mhm.
brings me to my last question for you. because you've been so effective on every level of government that you've been at, is there maybe, can we see a Governor Hill Evans somewhere in the
Nope,
future?
nope, 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 nope. Not interested. I want to
Not
do the
interested.
best I can do while I'm here, Keith. I want to do what I can do. This is a level above municipality, which I honestly believe that municipal level positions are far more effective on certain levels because they're closer to home. They're
Hmm.
affecting your every single day life. But at the state level, at this level where I am now, it's about being able to bring resources into the community. It's about relationships. You have to form those relationships. We only have 2 years and then we have to run again. So basically, we're running every other year. So when people say nothing gets done in Harrisburg, they're kind of sort of right because we only have 1 year to do something and then we're running for reelection. Then we get back
Hmm.
in and we have 1 year to do something, and then we're running for reelection. So it's difficult to get things done, but it's not impossible. I've had at least four bills in the times that I've been there. That affects all of it affects our military, it affects our seniors, it affects our businesses, and I'm really proud of the accomplishments that I've done. But Governor, no, no, thank you. I just want to do wherever I am and forever, for however long I'm in this position, I want to do the best and the most that I can for the most people. And so, just still trying to do the right thing for the right reasons.
We thank you so much for coming and see us
Oh,
at the Lions Den podcast again. Again, I've never heard a single complaint about you. Everybody that I've ever talked to has said nothing but great things about you. And I want you to keep doing what you're doing because you are making a difference and people see you. People see you. And that's a really good thing because that's we don't hear that too many times people in government. So you're a positive aspect on a lot of people's life and
oh,
continue
thank
on.
you. It's really an honor. I still enjoy doing what I'm doing. I'm very grateful for everyone who supports and votes for me. And I'm going to continue as long as they'll have me or until the Lord says otherwise, right? And
Right.
yeah, but thank you for the invite. I appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. Washington, for bringing up my name. It's always good to see you and to hear from others. And so,
Same here. We
very
hope to have
excited.
you back again and check with you in another year.
Yeah, anytime. Just let me know.
You take care. We'll talk to
All
you
right,
soon.
you too. All right, God bless.
God bless.
Thanks.